I'm John Seglias. I work for Ipsos, a market research company. We are into retail. Unfortunately, we're not as inspirational as previous speaker. So I look after IT in EMEA. Today, I'm going to explain why we should stop worrying and actually probably start loving the consumer product. How we can move away from the current office into the Novice, as I call it, and why we should move away from being asset managers to actually transforming the business through IT. Very quick, because we're obviously running behind. Ipsos is quite large. We bought Synovate back in October. So our combined turnover will have been about 1.8 billion euros. Not as big as 16 billion euros, but still quite large. We are in 84 countries. We've got 16,000 staff. And from an IT perspective, we manage about 17,000 PCs, laptops, desktops, all that kind of stuff. Lots of servers. And EMEA, which is my area, has got 55 out of the 84 countries, so it's quite demanding. So, as an IT organization, not just in Ipsos, as in general, what do we do? And why do we do what we do? Well, actually what we do is we do a lot of procurement of assets. We buy them, we set them up, we supply them, we support them, we go through the whole life cycle of that equipment. We have to put in place the IT organization to support those assets, help desks, IT infrastructure, and so on. We have great fun every year working with our finance colleagues, setting up IT budgets. They come back and say, oh, no, this is too high. You have to take some out, make it smaller. We agree what the budget is. Then when the year starts, we say, well, I want to spend my money. They say, put forward a CapEx request, and maybe I'm going to give it to you. And it happens year after year after year. So what we do then is we have fun by squeezing our suppliers, just a few percentage points, just to say we did a good job, take 2 or 3 percentage points out of the price of that PC. It's good, is what we do, but is it really what we should be doing? Is that our talent? Are we asset managers? Or are we actually transforming the business? That's the question I have anyway. Just for fun, and you probably all know the 5 forces model here, I thought, well, let's look at the IT setup at the moment and the environment and see what kind of pressures we're having as an IT organization. So our business is getting a lot of pressure from its rivals. So they're coming to IT and saying, you got to save money, you got to produce products faster, you got to keep costs low, you're going to save money, you have to be just better with less. And then if you don't do it, they say, but I was reading the FT. So your CEO comes to you and says, I was reading the FT and I was reading about these cloud products. Oh, that's really good. Why don't we do cloud? We could do cloud, we could save lots of money. We could outsource. So you have to explain to them why you don't do cloud, if you don't. Our bread and butter services are under threat from substitute products. Just think about it. And this is a hypothetical question, you don't have to answer, but how many of you have an email service that has an upper limit on the size of the attachment you allow your staff to attach to emails? So what do? You send it. They use iCloud, they use Dropbox. They bypass your IT because basically you've put in place historical restrictions that now they don't want to use. So the threat of substitute products is actually there. And at the same time, we're getting pressure from our suppliers who have big, lots of power. Just think about it. How many PC and laptop suppliers are there for the corporate environment? 2, 3. Depends whether HP will keep selling PCs and laptops tomorrow. And of course, they want to make a profit, so they're not going to be nice to you. They're not a not-for-profit organization. They have shareholders to please. And then, finally, our users. Our users probably have better IT at home than we have in the office. They bought it yesterday. It's an iPad 2. It's some really funky whatever it is, which I don't even know about because I'm not Generation Y, but they are Generation Y. So they come in the office and they go, wow, what's this piece of Dell equipment that's been sitting on my desk for 5 years? 5 minutes, wow. So that's why I'm not Generation Y, because I grew up with this. That's the kind of advert I used to have. This is what you probably got 10 years ago, if you're 30 or over. It's not very exciting. It's all about technology. It doesn't tell you what it does. It tells you what CPU it has and how much memory. what our users now have is this. That's the kind of app they get. And that's how they use it. So that's the question. How many of you, and I have some stats here actually, so if you just, because I don't remember them, I'm not very good, I'm getting old anyway, I'm not Generation Y, there you go. So how many of you go to bed with your iPhones? Yeah? Well, there you go, lots of hands. Right, okay, so basically, could you do this 2 or 3 years ago? Well, probably not, okay? So according to Ofcom, 4 in 10 adults and teens use the smartphone in bed, okay? 50% of 18 to 34-year-olds use Facebook the moment they wake up. I could go on, but I don't have time. I've only got about 4 minutes, so I'll move on. And then they come in the office, and this is what they get. This is most probably the environment they have in the office. It's not very exciting. And okay, it may not be as bad. The chair doesn't work. The desk is beige. They don't mind this. They mind the 4-year-old PC that they keep using again and again and again. So to them, this is what we're about. We're not about this. We should be this. We should be what I call the Novice. Okay? So with 3 minutes to go, just imagine, no cables, open plan, a bit like a Starbucks. I know there's someone from Starbucks here. I prefer Cafe Nero. I hope you don't mind, but it doesn't really. So whatever you fancy. You have to be able to work anywhere you want. Okay? I want to go and work in the office courtyard, not be stuck in my desk, because this is where my desktop is placed. And if you want to bring your own device, your consumer device, bring your own device. We as IT must be able to do this. Why is it good? Well, we move away from being asset managers. Okay? And then we spend so much money buying desktops and laptops. We could be using that money much, to transform the business, rather to actually just run the business. And our users will be happier, they'll be more productive, and we'll be seen as CIOs and not CINOs, which I think some of them actually think we are. So, is it difficult? No, it's not. Speak to your staff. Find out whether they actually want to do it. Maybe they come back and say, you know what, I'm happy with my Dell, but I bet they will say, no, actually, that sounds a good idea. Set up a pilot, see how it goes. Your CFO will love you. You go to him and say, you know what, next year we're not going to spend £1 million on assets. Let's use it on something a bit more strategic than buying a desktop or a laptop. Okay? You don't have to manage all these assets, sweat them, depreciate them, and so on. Facilities, you go to them and say, you know what, don't worry about IT. Just set up the office anywhere you want. Okay? They will love you as well. Do your homework. Think about, I've got this money now. What do I do with it? How do I invest it back in the business? How do I transform the business? What kind of IT structure do I need to support this new setup I have rather than the old setup I have? And then take it to your management team, because I'm sure they would like the idea. And that's me in about 12 minutes. Thank you very much.